Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Michaela Peters. I thought of this topic of comparing American universities to Finnish universities last week because I was talking to my American friend and I forgot how much different those two systems are. So I hope this video can be helpful to people who are interested, people who are maybe deciding where to study, or all of that. And I do have my first paid partnership, which is with SwissCare, and so I think I'm supposed to be like contains product placement here. But SwissCare is actually just a really good coverage for international students who are coming from different countries and need health coverage while they're studying in Finland. I think their prices are pretty reasonable. I'm pretty sure you get like a little bit of a discount by using this link, which I have in my bio, and I'll link it below here too. But I'm actually going to try using SwissCare myself coming up this next month, so I can let you know how that works out for me too. Either way, I'm sure it will be cheaper than in the US. So I'll start with that. Actually, if you're a US student, you do have to have US healthcare. And if you do not pay for the one that's provided through the university, you need to show evidence that you have your own. So I was under the age of 26, and that's how that works, where you can stay on your parents. So I was on my dad's health insurance the entire time I was studying. I turned 26 in Finland. So that became a later problem for me. But if you're an international person, that's going to be a concern for you, aside from the fact that the fees are twice the amount of money. And yes, money, it is expensive. Now, I know that in Finland, they've recently gotten rid of some of the support for international people. Somebody was talking to me about that yesterday, and I mean, it happens. I guess Finland is just really in demand, so they're trying to capitalize on the opportunity. I don't know how else to put it. But some other core differences that are, aside from it just being expensive, I do find it to be very stressful, maybe, being a student in the US. And that's why I say, unless you're like super smart and you just need to be challenged a lot, I wouldn't necessarily recommend the US over Europe just in terms of quality of life. But I know people think it's like the gold standard and like, oh my gosh, I have to get there. But like, I'm just going to lay it all out. Like, I mean, yeah, I always say, like, if you like having to have a car and having to drive around, then sure, it's and living in maybe a bigger house, maybe, keyword maybe, then sure, yeah, cool. But like, there are even other things, like here you can take an exam up to 3 times. No, that's not how that works in the US. You take it once, and if you fail a course, you have to pay again to retake that course the next semester. That is one example. The idea that you have this add drop period that lasts for the entire semester here in Finland, that's crazy, because that is not something that exists in the US. You have an add drop period between like literally the first week, I think, of classes where you're going to need to decide. And otherwise, if you drop it later, you're going to get a W on your transcript, which to my knowledge doesn't look very good. I have one of those on my own transcript, and I was pretty desperate. So yeah, so it's really just a lot more intense. And they do have office hours. Like, teachers are required to have office hours in the US. Here it seems like it's by appointment only, so there's a little bit less of that. I guess in the US it just feels more competitive in the sense that, for instance, they do this whole grading on a curve thing. So it's like the first however many people will take an A, and the next however many people take a B, and then a C, and then fail. I think most people will at least get a C. And to be fair, that's not every class, but that was a lot of the classes that were my like major oriented classes, because I studied business analytics when I was doing my undergrad also. And yeah, like, jokingly, not jokingly, a lot of the Chinese international students came and took all the A's because, you know, a lot of the really smart ones end up in the US. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just like a fact. Yeah, I mean, there's some statistic where it's like there are more smart kids in China than like everywhere in the world combined, something like that. It's not actually that, but something like that. So yes, it's competitive. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, at a university level. I also went to community college for 2 years first, which helped me keep the cost down because it was free. So yeah, cost is a thing. Room and board is insanely expensive. I think I'm actually going to show a cost breakdown of that right here, just to show how crazy it is. And yeah, I mean, it can cost you like, I think in some estimates, like $20,000 a year. And at that point, you're better off just renting a room. And that's mostly what I did in these situations. Although I ended up commuting because I was trying to save money so I could travel, obviously. Yeah, I think One of the other things, everything's in English. There's not really a purpose in knowing foreign languages. Maybe that feels very counterintuitive to other places in the world. Kind of is. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, yes, the other thing is like in Finland, emphasis on student activities, whereas I feel like in the US, it's a lot more like club sports, being in charge of clubs, being involved in clubs. Like that's the kind of stuff that makes you look good and stand out to an employer. I think it's cool that people organize things here, but it seems like things are organized for fun and not for business, which I'm not gonna lie, that felt very weird to me coming into Finland. You're like, why aren't people working more? Like really, that was my thought. Yeah, so and there's really only like one club for international people to be involved in, and I guess you can be on the board, and that's kind of it. That'd be like the only like, and Americans did do that, so yeah, that kind of makes sense. But all the stuff I like to do, like club running, club swimming, that stuff doesn't exist in Finland, and it's a little bit awkward. I don't know, like it's very different, and yeah, I just feel like in the U.S. I like, as I say, it was like my entire life force was dedicated to school, and so I could get scholarships and all that fun stuff. And I was busy applying to grants, like these really competitive grants that I ended up winning to go study abroad. I'm not even sure that those exist here like they do in the US. Like there's just like there's a lot of scholarship stuff you can apply for, and it's competitive, but yeah, it exists. I don't know. Okay, that's kind of everything I can think of for this video. I just wanted to name some key differences because I thought it might be interesting. It's also like the US government does not give you, like, you want to get done with being a student as quickly as possible in the US because it's just expensive. It's super expensive. And in Finland, I feel like people want to stay students for a really long time and just kind of live the student life. And no, people in the US want to get out and graduate and make money, and then they'll just keep partying if they're into that with their coworkers. I think that's how that works. I don't know. That's not me. I want to do another video on like the difference between bars in Finland and the US because it is very different, even though I've only been to a bar like twice in the US because I don't like it. Here, I don't mind it, so I actually go sometimes. But yeah, it's very different. So yeah, it's it is super different. Yeah, and I guess it's like choose one if you have the option. I mean, for international students, you don't get all those Kela benefits and stuff, so like you don't have that going for you. So a lot of times you are paying, and it's just sort of like what system do you want to invest in? And yeah, I think if you're trying to build a career, it's probably easier to do it in one place, or you can, start one place and go the other. Totally up to you. All right, that's going to be it for today. I got to keep studying myself. So yeah. All right, until next time. Bye.